So welcome everybody. This is the 23rd of July, 2024. This is Open Research Institute's FPGA Meetup. And what we do is we talk about what we've done and what we plan to do. If we have any resources that we need in order to get what we want to do done. And if there's any roadblocks that are kind of causing us trouble. So that's kind of the format. And what I'll do is I'll hand it off to Paul to kick us off to talk about what you've done, what you have planned, if you need any resources, and if you have any roadblocks.
Okay. The main thing that's been going on here is an attempt to uh, spin up a VM virtual machine that has a later version of Ubuntu on it. This is in order to test out a hypothesis that Michelle has that using an old version of Ubuntu has been causing problems with certain builds. So I spun up one called Cookie Bow. Cookie Bow is a friend of Choco Cat, a orange dog. Anyway, it runs the latest LTS release, which is 24.04 of Ubuntu. And with a little bit of struggling against my forgetfulness, I did get it to launch and hook up to the big and tools volumes. But so far, I've not been able to get it to work with VNC. It's not able to launch the window manager or something along those lines. So when you try to run a VNC session with it, you just get a big full screen error message that says the extremely helpful message, "Oh no, something has gone wrong." And it's right as far as it goes, not very helpful. And I've been trying to chase that down for several days now. Um, I don't know what's going on. I don't know how to fix it, but maybe I will know eventually if I keep beating on it.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for working on this problem, and just for everybody watching along, what we're trying to do is to update the operating system that we're using for the VMs. And so we're keeping like Choco Cat and Karapi where they are, but putting another VM out there with a more recent version of Ubuntu to see if the compiling the no OS version of things will go better, because we are following the recipe. We're doing it's a very simple recipe to get this development environment set up, and it's just not working. And no one else seems to be suffering this problem, but no one else is working with 1804. So that's the goal here. So I don't know. Let's go ahead and go to Everest. I think he has some updates about the Pluto firmware for Opulent Voice.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. So following the GitHub repo about the Pluto MSK, then I made some commits on that in order to build a complete firmware using using the different submodules. So the first step was to have a bitstream completely automatically built, and then build firmware using this bitstream. So there is maybe some documentation on that. I put all that and committed, but not all is not really documented right now. I think that we have to documentate why all this working, which means that this is the final result, and the good news is that it's complete built on a new PC like Choco Cat. But maybe there is some secret or some some highlight to understand everything on the toolchain and how the makefile is working. I know that Michelle, you mainly follow the ADI documentation, and as I have now some a few years experience with the toolchain of Buildroot and the Pluto SDR particularly. And then I made some custom makefile. I discussed also with Daniel for GPZ and have some common idea on the how to implement a toolchain which is maybe simpler. And so that's why first I fork from my SDR, Pluto SDR, and then here now I have all the knowledge to have separate thing. And well, that's the result with the Pluto ORI. Back to you.
Oh, yeah, thank you so much. There's so what we're doing is taking the HDL, or the hardware descriptive language version of the minimum shift keying transceiver. This is a transceiver that we have built for Opulent Voice, for our uplink. And so that HDL has been in progress, probably still some development there, but it's gotten to the point where it looks good in simulation. And taking that HDL, taking that design, and then moving it to the Pluto, so the Pluto SDR, targeting that particular zinc processor. So Everest has been instrumental here in taking that design and then targeting the Pluto, figuring out how to update a firmware build. And Everest mentioned that the MSK is now available as a repository at ORI GitHub. That's the case. So it's really kind of neat. It's Pluto_MSK repository, and it brings in all of the modules, the submodules, as submodules, as Git submodules. So this is an effort to make the design and the components of the design as reusable as possible. So things like the numerically controlled oscillator are their own repository. The MSK modulator and demodulator and the PI controller are separate repositories, and they're all brought in, and then they're stitched together with a script. Those repositories can be reused by other designs, and many of them definitely will be. For example, on Neptune. So this is probably the first repository that we've been able to do that has a very high level of reuse potential. And it's as of this week is public with several pull requests and updates from Everest to improve it. So instead of having to manually download the HDL reference design from analog devices, and instead of having to manually copy over your work into the library folder and the library block to set up a library block, it actually is an out of tree approach. So it's just one line change in the Teckle script, and all of the HDL that's been pulled in is incorporated in the design. This works really, really well. So a huge thank you to Everest and to Matthew and to all of the people that have made this possible. So we'll just keep working at it, and I think we're really close to being able to go and to write application layer code that programs the registers that gets it to work over the air. So a big step forward. All right, so Everest, have I missed anything? Is there anything else you want to talk about?
I think that now the next step would be to well, we have some bugs now on the register writing, and as soon as the register is not completely clean about how it works, we can't work further on the streaming. So I think that's the next step. But I'm very happy that now we have a complete chain, and if there is a commit on a new submodule of HDL, we can easily test to see if it works. So that's the first point on the HDL part. And the second is, of course, trying to have a VM more efficient, which means that right now, well, it's not very easy to compile on the VM on ChocoCat or KRP. Many on ChocoCat because of the speed. So I mainly do that on local. There is no problem with that. Just if other people want to use the share the remote lab, having a more efficient computation. But that's it.
Well, thank you. That's a lot. And yeah, we'll post progress over the next week on these two, at least these two things on Slack. And looking forward to next week when we come back and are able to report all the progress. So again, thank you very much for all of your efforts. It's really, really appreciated. All right, so let's go to any updates for NoOS or the polyphase filter receiver from Ken. Is there anything that you need, anything that's happened over the past week that you want to report or share? Just go ahead and give us a summary of where you're at and where you want to go.
Yeah, tried a lot of different things over the last couple weeks, but have still seen some errors. I've documented that in the FPGA channel. There's some syntax parsing errors, I would say. It's tough to say what it is. It doesn't return much in the way of an error message, but it gives like this cycling of a clock report followed by basically a dump out from the script. So I've submitted questions into the engineer zone. Didn't really get much back from them. So yeah, part of setting up this this all other server is to just try it with the latest and greatest tools. But yeah, kind of stuck right now, I guess. Not sure that I really need anything. I'm just kind of not sure where to go next here.
Well, we really appreciate your time, and I think the experiment on the new VM will help a lot.
Yeah, I guess it's worth a shot, and I'll keep looking around to see if there's other issues here. Yeah, it's just there have been some similar types of error messages that I've seen out there, but it's not clear how things move forward in those cases. So yeah, it's a tough one here. Sorry that I don't have much to report. But
Well, no apologies necessary for attacking it with a tire iron. It is an uphill battle to use some of these more complicated tools, and your time and effort are deeply appreciated. And it will eventually work. We've actually come a long way with the investigation into the NoOS way of doing things. All right. Any other comments or questions or input for our meeting?